How's it going, everybody? Hi, everyone. Today is January 12th, 2025. Prayers, um, serious. I want to take a pause for a moment and all the conspiracies or truths aside. I want to, like, literally, all of us, if we can, when you watch this video, just think about the people impacted in Los Angeles. Give them some love and prayers. It's really hard going through stuff like this. I know everyone has their opinion on it, but regardless of your opinion, these are human beings being impacted, not just celebrities, but human beings are being impacted by these fires, and we should give our hearts out to them and hope that they find their way safely. So, with that said, I want to do a little video talking about this new round of fires. Okay, so guess we'll start with my background as as an activist, as a truther. You have to end up wearing many hats. Edward Bernays, he was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, and he really did a number on humanity. One thing that he especially did was he um, he marketed the idea of trust the specialist, and he put the doctors in white coats, and then all of a sudden it's just like nobody can wear many hats anymore, and everyone has to like get the degree, get the master's degree, get the doctor's degree, get in debt a couple hundred grand or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're the specialist and people answer to that guy. He's the rocket scientist. He works for NASA. You know what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't have to be that way. It's part of our programming. So, being the truther activist that I am, I wear many hats. I mean, I've already had in my life like 45 jobs. Now I have my own thing going on, and I won't really be needing much of a job because my company's pretty successful, and I'm doing my own thing. I've kind of broken free of the matrix. Anyways, I've become a fire forensics analyst, an electrical engineer, a meteorologist, these sort of things, by proxy, just through learnings. And to be quite frank, I know a lot, even more than the meteorologist without the degree. You know what I'm saying? Because the programming really doesn't lead you to truth, right? The indoctrination, what have you. So we've had a series of these irregular, abnormal, coincidental, absurd fires. These fires, right? And so people are, the agenda, the play here is to what? Blame global warming and climate change. Classic problem, reaction, solution. Classic, classic, classic. People fall for it so well too. So why change the script? Why not? Why go with a different playbook if this one's working? You know what I mean? So it's it's really something, right? It's really something. Um, so we've got this agenda at hand, and here it is. And what are we to do about it, right? So part of it is they create weather events. They create weather events, flooding and hurricanes and what have you, and they point the finger at the boogeyman, which is carbon dioxide or cows farting or sustainable humans, happy humans. Basically, it's like your happiness is making this rainstorm happen because of global warming, whatever, whatever. And now they're going to blame these fires and really, and they are blaming these fires on climate change, global warming. But let's get to the bottom of these irregular, abnormal fires, right? I'm trying to look at the comments, but it's so delayed I can't really answer every or talk back to people. But anyways, that's what I was trying to do there. But hi everyone, and I really appreciate the support online. You know, um, I'm getting to reach a lot of people, and I'm very grateful for that. And there is a lot of things that keep the truth in its little echo chamber and what have you, but we are breaking out by, honoring the truth with the integrity that it deserves and getting it out there in the ways that we see fit, right? Because it's really important. Like, some people could reach 1 million people and it doesn't really matter, but you could reach one person and it could matter a lot because you can really get to them because you know who you're speaking to, right? You can meet your people where they're at. You know how to speak to your people, right? I mean, I think it's just really important. So in my life as an activist, I learned a lot of this stuff the hard way. Like I became EMF sensitive from a smart meter. So me and the smart meter go way back, to be quite frank. I didn't even really realize that. I mean, how it's all related. Like, because I lived in just outside of Vancouver, Canada, in this small town called Roberts Creek. I was up there working on Frankenskies, the movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's online for free. Frankenskies. Like literally, if you haven't seen Frankenskies, now's the time. Like it's there, it's everywhere, it's on your favorite platform, it's available everywhere. If you see it somewhere with like 500 views, don't be like, oh man, because like we're programmed to be like, oh man, it's only got 500 views, I'm not gonna watch this. Trust me, it's been seen by tens of millions of people. Like it's been seen, it's been seen, it's been seen. It's been pulled a lot of times. Some of the big, like if it's got a lot of views somewhere, it gets sometimes pulled, the culprits and the what have yous. But it's been seen. 2017 it was released, and it's gaining momentum. It's translated into all sorts of languages. It's getting a lot of momentum in Czechoslovakia and Czech Republic or whatever, and Romania right now. It's getting around the world. So please check it out. Frankenskies, frankenskies.com, frankenskiesthemovie.com, frankenskies2.com for updates on the upcoming sequel. Okay, Climate Chains Like Shackles is the sequel title. So I've been at it for a while. I've been an activist for a decade. I thought it was just going to be chemtrails, And while I was working on my movie Frankenskies, there was a smart meter on the other side of the wall where I lived and did my work and slept. So it ended up doing a number on me. The smart meter ended up giving me heart palpitations, and I got really electrically sensitive. And sometimes these paths like are purposefully like in divine order or something like that because I mean, because of all of what I went through, I don't have a smartphone. You know what I mean? I don't have a smart meter either. I don't do Wi-Fi and stuff like that. And I started an EMF protection, company. So it's like our paths are more than just coincidence, I feel, right? Because I feel like this kind of like the things that happened to me helped me become who I am today. But I feel like I was supposed to become who I am today. So it's like in divine order kind of thing. Whatever, this life. So, check it out. I got really sensitive from a smart meter. I learned about EMF radiation, what it can do, and so it's always been on the back of my mind, the smart meters, right? I moved to a community now where I live, they don't have them. This was pretty cool. But I did witness firsthand some irregular fires in this small town called Talent, Oregon. And then there's a neighboring town to it that also got hit really hard called Phoenix. Not Phoenix, Arizona, but Phoenix, Oregon. And at the time, I was like really suspect and kind of a little bit on the DEW directed energy weapon bandwagon at the time. And this is a while ago. This is 2020. And I also lived in Santa Rosa. Crazy, right? So Santa Rosa got hit hard. Paradise got hit really hard. And there's a few places like Maui, like Lahaina, Maui, same situation that we're dealing with. And in Talent, Oregon, where I lived, what happened was the water was shut off, the electricity was left on, and a specific fire pattern occurred, like very crazy. Like it didn't cross certain streets, it didn't take out certain infrastructure. They left the Shakespeare little playhouse. They left their nice little dog park and police station, But what they didn't leave is all the low-income homes. You know what I'm saying? And so 2,300 low-income homes turned into dust on a Monday holiday afternoon Memorial Day, um, no, Labor Day rather, um, 2020. So like September or whatever, you know. And this is the year of the lockdowns. So that region got hit so hard that they had the lockdowns, and then they had a fire like clean them out. So 2,300 low-income homes turned into freaking dust. It was crazy. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but the fire print was wild. And again, trees were standing, and I lucked out where I was living right next to it. I had a tree in my backyard that actually got like singed from the heat. Like I was close, and at the time I didn't even have a car, right? So I was starting my company Sparrow though, and so I was doing the damn thing, and so I had to walk my orders to the post office, and it was down Talent Ave. So I'm living in Talent, walking down Talent Avenue, and going to the post office. Every day I walked through the fire wreckage, the fire path, right? Every day I walked by the freaking dog park and police station and sweet park. I mean, I don't mind it. I played basketball there and loved it. But there's this big park that didn't get touched. But the apartment buildings across Talon Ave on the other side of the street, obliterated. Like it was like a war zone. And what I started to question was whether the local cell towers had any involvement in the direction of the path of the fire, because there's three local cell towers and the path went the direction they it went the path of the fires of the destruction was where the cell towers were, and somehow they were untouched, right? But all around them, all three of them, all surrounding them was just destruction, right? Which was really fascinating and interesting to me because there was so much heat and melted metal, but the plastic little fence around each of the cell phone towers is like untouched, but there's melted metal right there. It's like, what was that? You know? So I started just to open my mind and ask questions, right? And so it's important to be able to open your mind and ask questions. That's what the truther community is. That's what we are. That's the bond that keeps us together. That's our glue, you know? So like being able to have an open mind and have these conversations like I'm doing, I should not be um, demonized or anything. Like don't kill the messenger. And a lot of people like to do that. They like to hate on certain things because maybe I see something a certain way, but believe me, I'm aligned with truth. I live my life in truth, and I try to honor that and find it and seek it and tell people about it. And that's how I became the chemtrail dude, made the movie Frankenskies, and had these conferences and all these things that I've done and will continue to do and what have you. So like. I feel that like people getting upset with the truth that I speak, that's just not right. You know what I mean? Like, do your deep investigation and honor your real true gut and don't take authority as your truth and rather take truth as your authority. And what I mean is like, don't follow the masses. Don't just take some photoshopped images. Like, honor yourself. Like, see what you see with your own eyes, right? And what I saw with my own eyes is I at first did think that it must have been some sort of like, how did it run so hot and how did it have such a straight path, right? And I literally thought it was likely some sort of directed energy weapon kind of thing. But then I started realizing that with engineered winds and having electrically surges in the wiring and causing like really hot fires through the electricity, I started to think that maybe, well, here's what really happened. I saw the Tally Ho. The Tally Ho is like this restaurant kind of thing. And it was like right amongst the fire of other things that were like melted cars and stuff, and it was untouched. Untouched red paint, untouched like cobwebs on this old building. And I went, and I mean, like, I'm just doing my thing, walking my packages, but I have to think outside the box because my community was just decimated. My community was like wiped off the map, you know. Let's be real. And what was crazy is like the cute little vegan place, the awesome bookstore, the reggae joint, the reggae place where people played reggae music and like you could go like watch reggae bands. Those places were burned to the ground. The joint, like all these places on the side of the street that had all the cool stuff, gone forever. Like they still are gone. It's been 4 years. It's sad. A lot of people got pushed out, then their rents got jacked up and they couldn't even move back. They lost everything. So many things of the like designed like gentrification kind of depop like pushing people around like classes, and like the zip code doubled in value overnight. It's crazy. It never changed after that. It's like it's just a richer place to live where people grow grapes, and it's like kind of like the Napa of the whatever Oregon, whatever. We make good Pinot. There's good wine. It's like a lot of people, rich people, live here, and you can see there's a reason why would they would do this facelift that they did, or you know the elitists, the Satanists at the top or whatever. So so I started to put together that like these homes with these old analog meters were still standing in the fire, especially the Tally Ho. I was like, how come the Tally Ho wasn't touched? It's because the electricity was off there, and they had an old analog meter too. And so I started like really looking at fire forensics regarding the smart meters. And it wasn't until pretty recently, in my quest to make Frankenskies 2, when I was making my sequel movie, I found a fireman from actually from New Jersey, which was wild. But he was stationed over here to fight wildfires because we get wildfires and smoke and stuff during the summers. Um, and when I met him and I started telling him about the fires that swept through Talent and Phoenix, and he being a fireman and having worked with fire forensics and fires and stuff, he and you know is educated in this and whatnot. He started asking me questions and had me show him the fire path and tell him the story. And there's even a book on it, Alameda Fire. It's like something I witnessed firsthand. But these similar footprints, fingerprints, situations, ironic, like eerily, like it's beyond coincidence. I mean, I've got like an education in statistics. I got a master's degree in business administration, and in it, I took a really heavy statistics class where I learned about statistical significance, right? And um, there's you can either have a corollary or a causal, you know, relationship. Um, like things that can be either coincidence or not, and after a while, things don't add up statistically. Like literally, it's statistical. So it's like if Maui, the fire hydrants are off and the electricity's on, and there's reports of like hot spots and surging smart meters and electrical fires that burn things really hot really fast. And then the same situation happens in Talent in Phoenix, Oregon. The fire hydrants are empty, the electricity is on, the fire burned way too hot, hotter than it should. And then it happens again in LA. Like this is not, you know, this is not just coincidence. This is there's a correlation here, and it's like worth looking into. And it's like we have to be the investigators because the truth is so hidden from us through the mainstream bot media, right? The New World Order, the Agenda 2030 players, right? They're not going to let the truth hit the masses, so it's up to us to like honor it with the integrity and spread it, right? So I learned by speaking to this fireman, you know, and doing this. This is my life. This is my like life. 10 years now, I've been a full-on activist, like devoted my life to this. And it's like, it's become fire stuff, but it was primarily chemtrails and EMF. Um, but now the EMF is becoming included because of the involvement of the smart meters in these fires, is what I'm realizing. And so some places around the world don't have smart meters, but likely if you don't have one, they're pressing one on you right now and offering you a free popcorn or pizza or donut or something, because they're really pushing these everywhere. I've noticed, I've learned, because I've been traveling a lot. I went to Scotland and London and stuff over the last year, 2014, and 2024 rather. And I learned that everybody's getting these smart meters pushed on them. But in the States, it's pretty common. In the States, it's common, especially in California. But learn about it, people. You can opt out. You can learn about this. A lot of people don't know. I opt out because of the health implications. But now that these fires are happening, like it's just common sense to opt out because of the fire implications. So here's the deal, okay? With all that, how long did it take me? 20 minutes. Hope I didn't lose too many people. Here's the deal with these fires. The smart meters are connected. First of all, they're wirelessly connected to each other. They're all connected to each other wirelessly. Okay, so that's one thing to acknowledge. Emitting very strong radio frequencies to each other to communicate, which is energy. they're communicating with each other with energy, it's microwave energy that we can't see, but it's radiation. Like some of us can actually feel it, and it's measurable on a meter and what have you. Okay, strong frequencies. So, and then these go relay to a base station or a cell tower or what have you, and they're constantly trying to read your energy usage, right? This is like the new technology for reading energy on people's homes. Why they need a constant update is beyond me. They say it's energy efficient or something. But really, what they should be doing is just getting a reading once a month and billing you. They don't need to know what you're doing every 7 seconds or whatever they say that they do. Each meter is different. The meters that I've been accustomed to in California, they emit a surge every like 5 seconds, about thereabout, and that has the reading in it that tells the power company, which in California it's PG&E, and they are like, oh, that's what Johnny is doing right now. He turned on the light or not. You know what I mean? They say it's for like energy efficiency, whatever. But these things, I believe how they work is they're surging a small bit of dirty electricity through the house at all times and getting like a feedback loop to know, based on the current that they put out, how much comes back. Will tell them how much what's being used all the time. But that creates a lot of dirty electricity coming out of the outlets of your home. So that's one thing. There's a lot of dirty electricity coming out of the outlets of your home because of the smart meters. So all throughout your home, you've got to worry about dirty electricity. You should push your bed away from the outlet, not be exposed to that dirty electricity when you sleep. You know, it's a thing. It's measurable. You can get these like plugs that you put in that do a feedback thing and remove the dirty electricity. You can get meters and become an investigative analyst, truth seeker. And then all of a sudden you're becoming like you're wearing another hat that you shouldn't have because Edward Bernays told you you can't, right? So, I'm sarcastic. So then the smart meter also, it is emitting the radiation, and it's connected. So it's sending a signal out, and that radiation is bad. So if you're like living right next to it in the same room where your child is, I recommend just, distance is your friend. This thing called the inverse square law. And distance is your friend when it comes to radiation. It's like sound and light set have the same properties. So as you get a little further away from it, it's not as bad. So just don't sleep and live in the same room as where your smart meter is. And then there's covers that you can get and whatever on the smart meter to mute the signal and whatnot. So these smart meters, all of them have a little lithium ion battery in them. Maybe even two, but it depends on your design of the smart meter. But for sure, it's got a little lithium ion battery in them. All right. And this is because they want to be able to get the electrical readings when the electricity goes out. No, no shit. I'm not even kidding. So you can look it up. You can look into it. They want these things on all the time because even if the power goes out, they still want to know what's going on. It's like, but if the electricity's off, um, you want to know how much electricity I'm using in the freaking dark? It's like zero, bro. Like obviously, but they claim they need to just keep it on at all times, so they put these batteries in them, right? So a lot of people like think to themselves, "Oh, Matt, well these batteries they're not that big, you know what I mean? They they're big enough, all right? They're big enough. So check it out. So, and I don't know if y'all know about in Lebanon when those war games is going on over there, that they, or was it Gaza? Forgive me. No, it was Lebanon. So they surged people's pagers in Lebanon, and also come to find out, they surged their phones too, and made them like blow up and whatnot. You know about this? You heard about this? So the deal is those things, they say they intercepted them and put explosives in them and whatever, you know what I mean? That was one of the psyops alternative media distractions, like to confuse and misdirect, just as the do is, in my opinion, which is the truth. So just bear with me. So later on, it surfaced in Lebanon that other things were surging, such as solar powered homes and stuff, because they also have a big lithium ion battery on them. And for those of you that don't know, lithium ion batteries are like walking, talking, freaking little explosives. It's out of control. So what happens is these things can overheat and get crazy really fast. And if you don't know about it, just look up electrical vehicle fires. Um, like people, there's like a case recently of like four people in a Tesla, and I think I don't know what happened exactly, but it was brutal. And a lot of other stories of electrical vehicle fires. And once these things start burning, they can't put them out. Like there's stories of them having to shut down the freeway and stuff because people can't even drive close to them because they burn so hot. So these electrical vehicle fires, they have a lithium-ion battery, and the new EV vehicles that they plug in, like Teslas and what have you. They have what's called lithium-ion battery in them, and these lithium-ion batteries, first off, they gotta like totally destroy the world to like get the cobalt and lithium for these things. Like there's a book called Cobalt Red, which I encourage people to check out, and it's like the lithium cobalt mining industry is like totally destructive on like, talking about not green, it's not green. It's like totally destroying the earth and stuff like that. And the child people that are like involved in mining it, it's really brutal and horrible. So it's like just the creation and making of them, so much earth has to be moved and all this sort of stuff. That's an important thing to be educated on if you don't know about it. And then also, you got to charge these things up, which you're plugging them in anyways, which is like going right back to your coal or your whatever burning power plant. You know what I mean? So you're not really being energy friendly. So it's all a big, joke. But these lithium-ion batteries, they can like charge up and like drive a Tesla or whatever. But if they rupture, like if you shake them up too much from like a, or if they're like faulty or something or whatever, which they try to build them really good, but none are perfect, and they can rupture from like a big bump or whatever, or a crash or whatever, but not necessarily a crash, right? Because sometimes they just go nuts. And what happens is the battery heats up and the lithium starts to get crazy. And once it gets to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which for you Celsius people, I'm sorry, just deal with it for now. Like look it up for me, please. 140 degrees Fahrenheit is like not that hot. Like for like like if you put something in your hot car or something in a summer day or whatever, it's like it starts to heat up from being ruptured or whatever, but it can heat up from being in your car or something. And there's stories of like little teeny ones in like a like a stuffed animal, like exploding in people's cars when they heat up too much, like when you leave your stuff in your car on a summer's day. And like so these are like things to know and to look up about the lithium ion batteries. So what happens is once it gets to 140 degrees, the chemicals in the lithium ion battery start to just like go crazy. And so it's like it's a little bomb in your whatever. Like we have them all throughout our lives. Like I've got a battery pack that I can jump my car with. They're in like the bicycles, electrical bicycles. There's probably one in my computer right now as I speak. Like they're all over the place. Um, Phones have them and stuff like that, but they're pretty well encapsulated. But these bigger ones are more volatile, right? So they're in the smart meters, and when they heat up to over 140 degrees, there's this thing called thermal runaway. They call it thermal runaway. So check, very important search term for your search engine, Google or whatever you use, thermal runaway. And so what happens is these things just escalate to this crazy heat, right? The lithium does. And it's like I'm looking all over different sources and trying to get a really good grasp of the number. It says over 6,000 and 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like okay, 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit. That's extremely hot. Extremely hot. Okay? So hot. It's crazy hot. But also it's like limited how much lithium is in each battery, right? So people are like, well, how come the trees aren't burning? Well, check it out. This lithium ion battery that's connected to the smart meter, that's connected to all the electrical wiring in the home, all throughout the inside of the home, right? Which that there is copper or whatever, and it's meant to be conductive or convective. I mean, it is conductive to have electricity, but because it's conductive, it's convective, which means it can transfer heat, right? And so that when it gets super hot, it transfers the heat all throughout the home, and it's like having like a perfectly designed little weapon on your home, right? So I'm concluding that these smart meters are really burning down these neighborhoods, right? Because the electricity and gas is accidentally left on or whatever. The grid is like surging, and each home is its own little connection to the electricity. But if the backstop isn't correctly like wired, whatever's happening here, the electricity is surging these homes, and that's why the footprint is like all these homes are just like completely like and it's burning super super hot, right? So you get molten metal and what have you, right? And then come to find out, people that have like an old analog meter are supposedly saying, I mean, I've seen some videos now surfacing, they're saying, look, my analog meter is on my home, and my home is sitting here and everybody else's home is gone. So it's like it's because they don't have that lithium ion surging of electricity, weaponized neighborhood, like craziness going on, right? So I think this is a big thing. So then online, you see these other things going viral, such as directed energy weapons and what have you. And mind you, don't get all upset with me because I'm saying directed energy weapons aren't what we think. They could easily use them to start the fire, use them to surge the smart meters. Like they could be sending the signal to have the smart meter surge. Like they're probably using them in Lebanon to have the pager surge or whatever. So don't get me wrong. But the real culprit is the smart meter, right? And so you've got people like things going viral on this platform, on all of the social media platforms, and it's a controlled psyop misdirection. Okay, so people, you got to think about what the truth is, and you have to honor it with integrity. And the truth is very important. It's a frequency, right? And if it gets muddied with like people thinking that we're crazy, basically, it furthers the divide. And what we're trying to do is get everybody on board with the truth and not push people further away, right? So if you're already awake, that's fine, you know, that's great. But we want to wake up other people, is my point. And by saying to other people, there's laser beams and this and that and shit gonna make you sound crazy. You get it? So it's like they know that. They know that, right? And that's why they designed these psyops to make it so that we look bad, right? And so then it furthers the divide, right? Like I was, this is a whole nother topic, and yes, there was toxic fog and what have you, but the mainstream media, they spun it and they made it mainstream, and they even like it's like diabolical the way that it works, and it's all a numbers game, and there's probably like quantum computers and AI really involved now, what have you, but they're just trying to stifle the awakening. And the awakening is a contagion that goes all around to everybody and is like a rising consciousness. But if they can quell it by keeping us in our echo chambers, they think that they can control it, and turn the other half or whatever into transhuman robots and control some sort of frequency of humanity, right? And it's like, maybe there'll be a split in consciousness or whatever, and this is getting like more out there and than it needs to, but it's like I don't know, but it's an attack on the frequency of humanity that's actually happening. So understand that when things go viral, comprehend that when things go viral on the internet and they're saying, "Oh, these people painted their house blue," and you see some other AI imagery of a blue house that didn't burn down and stuff like that, that these things go viral for a reason, to imprint consciousness, to misdirect consciousness, to like prevent people from grasping the truth, because it's already so dark and scary, right? You got to go a certain place. And these people see that as like a fear that they don't want to go to. Then you start talking about lasers and blue houses and painting your hair blue, you're not going to win them over, right? And in this battle for the frequency of our souls and our children's future, we have to honor the truth for what it is. And it's not just this like it's not as easy as it looks. It's multifaceted, it's layered, right? And they play it. There's psyops on top of psyops on top of psyops. Just look at the lockdowns in 2020. There was so much information, disinformation, overload all at once that people just didn't know what to think or do. And they were like up against a wall. Like it was just out of control. And some people are still in that fight or flight, PTSD, trauma-based mind control state, and they're just trying to get their numbers up and get more of them to get on board, right? If it's not that, it's something else. But what's the more logical thing is Like, okay, if we know somebody that lives in California, let's ask them to look out for places that didn't burn. And then be like, oh, did that one have one of the old meters? Or what was the difference there? And take a logical approach to like gathering information and spreading the truth in the manner that it should be. It's important. This video is going on way too long. Sorry, I'm just like on a fucking tangent today. So, anyways, I think it's very important for us to grasp that there's alternatives, right? Like when we see something in the mainstream media, we're like, oh, we don't buy that, and we seek the truth, right? Like 9/11, whatever you want to look at it. Building 7, if you don't know about Building 7, look it up. So it's like if we're willing to do that for some things come from the mainstream, how come we're not ever willing to do that with the alternative media? Like we're like, no, that's mine. It's like ego. It's all ego. It's like, okay, that's great. You learned about lasers and no one else knows about it. But actually now it's becoming kind of like absurd. It's like all my feed is, and people are sending it to me left and right, and none of them resonate with me. They're all like CGI bullshit or something. And no offense if you're like on board with it, because it's a cool idea. It's okay. But you really think that like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman are gonna create a laser that just doesn't work on blue shit? Come the fuck on, please. Seriously, sorry. Like unfriend me if you're really offended. Okay? Like come on. Let's get real. Please. All right? Holy shit. Okay, so let's just honor the truth for what it is, and think about what I had to say here today. And please, like especially the thermal runaway and the heat and the extreme temperatures and the smart meters and all that sort of stuff. The new world order, Agenda 2030 assholes and cowards and treasonous assholes that we're dealing with, they get in these little think tanks years in advance and figure this shit out and plan this shit out. And this year's gonna be very interesting, it feels like, as we come into a new presidency and all this sort of shit. And we have to keep our wits about us, right? And that means resonating with truth. And the more that we muddy it with bullshit and falsehoods and lies, the less that we can resonate with the truth. So please honor the truth. Consider your frequency as your like weapon in this spiritual battle of light and dark. And I look forward to seeing everybody in the future on the etheric battlefield of like honoring the frequency for what it is. Okay? Have a nice day. Peace. Love you all. And thanks for listening.